Marvel fans, we need to talk about the Fantastic Four. There are a lot of new leaks and rumors coming out for this movie. Some of them sound really cool. Some of them sound frankly bad. I'm actually a little bit worried about the Fantastic Four movie, and I think most Marvel fans probably are, just given the track record of Marvel Studios from the past couple of years. So in this video, we're gonna break it all down. I'm gonna go over the leaks, the rumors, the reports, and then explain why I'm a bit worried about some of them. Maybe this will be okay. I don't know. Let's begin. Okay, so let's start with the cast. Now, the casting rumors for Fantastic Four have been a roller coaster ride of emotion. A lot of crazy stuff reported out there. But apparently, Marvel Studios has more or less decided that it's going to be Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Vanessa Kirby is all but confirmed to be Sue Storm. Joseph Quinn is going to be Johnny Storm. And Eben Moss-Bachrach is going to be Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. That cast sounds pretty good. I mean, Pedro's a little strange to imagine as Reed Richards. I mean, Pedro's a good actor. I'm sure he'll be able to nail it. And I think everybody else on this list is spot on for their roles. This movie, by the way, is said to begin filming in January. This is a huge deal for Marvel Studios, and they're trying to streamline this movie because I think Marvel realizes that where they are at right now is just not working with Marvel for a couple of different reasons, but they really need a new big franchise, something fresh, something cool, and they want to do something really crazy with the Fantastic Four, and they want it to be a new success. I think they're looking for it to be a new franchise that's just as big as like Guardians of the Galaxy or the Avengers. Now, the movie's also said to include Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Maybe it'll even have other versions of Heralds of Galactus, but this is where it begins to get a little bit weird because the big rumor right now is that the Silver Surfer is going to be female in this movie. And there are female Silver Surfers in the comics. There's also the character of Frankie Ray, or Nova, who almost looks like the Silver Surfer, but also has like a body of fire, like her hair is on fire, and it's really cool. And I think just given where Marvel Studios is at right now, they are not beating the MCU allegations. Like they're not beating the allegations. Like, again, I used to hate when people would say the MCU, and then Marvel's like, hold my beer, and then they basically just did it and proved all of that right over the past couple of years, in my opinion. And look, I actually don't think it's gonna be the worst thing ever to have the Silver Surfer as female, but you're literally feeding right into culture war subjects, to all these kind of trolly, Antissa-hating accounts. Like, they're gonna have an absolute field day with this kind of a thing, and it's a wild subverting of expectations. Like, even if you're sitting back there and you're like, I don't really see the problem, well, it's like this, man. Why not just give us the Silver Surfer? Why not just give us Norrin Radd, who is an absolutely incredible character? And I'm not saying they can't do something cool with a female Silver Surfer. I'm just saying, like, why would you do this? It feels a little bit Ralph Bonery to me, where the only reason you would go to this is if you really just wanted to subvert the expectations of your audience. But look, I'm getting ahead of myself because I didn't want to like go over all the stuff I don't like about these leaks right away. So let's just keep going through the information that we have. As far as casting for Galactus and the Silver Surfer, we don't really know much, but it is rumored that you're going to either have Javier Bardem or Antonio Banderas playing Galactus. And it was just revealed from Daniel RPK that Anna Taylor-Joy is in talks to join the Fantastic Four as a villain. She could end up being the female Silver Surfer. And if that's true, I take back every bad thing I just said about a female Silver Surfer. I actually think it could work. I see the vision. Now, some scoopers and insiders are also indicating that early drafts of this script did include Franklin Richards and Valeria Richards. These are the children of Sue Storm and Reed Richards, and two absolutely fascinating characters. Valeria is like as intelligent as Doctor Doom and Reed Richards. The three of them kind of just are in rotation for who is the smartest person in the entire Marvel universe. Franklin Richards is an Omega level mutant. He is a crazy powerful being, and I know some of you comic book nerds are like, actually they recently retconned that Franklin is actually not a mutant and he never was a mutant and he turned himself into a mutant. Shut your mouth. I hate that retcon. He's an Omega level mutant and he's a reality warper. The powers that Franklin Richards have are insane. He's actually critical in recreating the multiverse after the most recent Secret Wars event, which had the whole multiverse be destroyed. Okay, so that's all like the casting slash character information that we have. Now let's actually talk about the rumors and the leaks for the plot of the movie. The movie is said to be taking place in the 60s in an alternate universe, not the MCU 616, but an alternate universe. Sue Storm is said to be the lead of the movie, and probably we will see the plot circle around her having to deal with these family issues of kind of like being a mother, being a wife, while also trying to be a superhero in her own right and support her genius husband and all of her crazy powerful friends. Galactus and his heralds are said to be the villains of the movie. They're going to pose a major threat to the Fantastic Four and to that universe that they are in. And apparently the movie is supposed to end in a way where that universe that the Fantastic Four are in is destroyed and they are brought to New Earth, or maybe to the 616, by either the TVA or by a device that Reed Richards creates. And as far as Doctor Doom is concerned, he's said to play a very small role in this movie, but will have some kind of an end cap scene or maybe a post-credit scene, which kind of implies that they're doing something a lot cooler and maybe different with the Doctor Doom character. But he's not going to be the main villain of the film. But okay, let's talk about like what I like about this, what I don't like about this, why I am worried about the Fantastic Four movie. A lot of this has to do with just where Marvel is at right now. I think if we were in the midst of the Infinity Saga, especially like phase 3, they would literally be able to get away with murder. They were throwing up so many W's, they were crushing it, and I think the audience was more forgiving back then. But now we are not in that place. Like, we are not going to accept another Ralph Boner quietly. And this just kind of ties into a big fear I have for Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. I believe they still feel like they're playing with house money, although with the last couple of years that they've had, with a lot of failure just publicly out there with diminishing box office returns and the diminishing audience for their Disney Plus shows, you would think they would get the idea and not try to mess with the audience anymore. But I say all of that to frame the conversation around this idea that the Fantastic Four come from a different universe. I think that's a really tough sell. I love the idea of the multiverse. I love what it can do. But I think when you're building up a new franchise, to do something as weird as establish the Fantastic Four from another universe while planning for them to be the Fantastic Four in a new universe after a reboot is a bad idea. Some of the best Fantastic Four stories involve the multiverse. Reed Richards and the Council of Reeds and the bridge that he creates, it's a fascinating part of their lore. But the reason those stories work is because our Reed Richards is different than a lot of the other Reed Richards in the multiverse. Of course, he's similar in a lot of ways, but he ultimately chooses his family, right? The Council of Reeds, they forsake their family, they forsake Sue Storm, and they just go solve universal problems and basically take over the multiverse. And Reed's not about that. So to me, what makes Reed so cool, or at least what allows me to get invested in the Reed Richards character in the comics, is the fact that he comes from 616 and there's just something different about this version of Reed. Our Reed is different. I think a great way to explain this is with the character of the Maker. This is a version of Reed Richards from the Ultimates universe. And that character is villainous. He's crazy, man. Like a totally different take on Reed Richards that's chilling. And yet I think you can only appreciate the Maker when you juxtapose that character against the 616 Reed, against our Reed Richards. Like, it's all a foundation built upon what the Reed Richards of the 616 universe is like. So I think by establishing Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four from a different universe, that's just such a weird ask for audiences to get down with, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. Now, another thing that kind of bugs me here is Sue Storm being the lead of the movie. Look, maybe we're reading too far into this, and maybe it's a movie with all of them, and it's just the fact that they have a clever way of telling the story through the lensing of Sue Storm. But what I'm afraid of is that this is a story created to try to atone for this perceived mistake that they've done with the Fantastic Four for so long. I'm afraid that Feige and some other people at Marvel Studios view the Fantastic Four as problematic because Sue Storm was never really doing anything super interesting. It was just being a mother and a wife. And so if they're trying to like compensate that by making Sue Storm into like this girl boss leader of the team, and that she's actually the most important figure of the Fantastic Four, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind, because that's just not what the character is. I'm not saying you can't update the character for quote unquote modern audiences, but let's be real. Reed Richards is more interesting. Johnny Storm is more interesting. The children are definitely more interesting. And I just think it's going to be the wrong thing to do at the wrong time if this is what Marvel Studios is trying to do. And the last thing I'm worried about is the female Silver Surfer. I know there are female Silver Surfers in the comics. I know they're probably not technically gender swapping Norrin Radd. At least I've heard that's not what they are doing, but it just feels like a wild flipping of the expectations, man. We wanted Norrin Radd. Most fans are gonna want Norrin Radd. And again, Marvel's not going to beat these allegations. They're literally taking another character that 99.9% of the population would identify as male, would say, yeah, that's Norrin Radd, and they're going to make that character a female. It's not inherently wrong. It's just obvious that they keep doing this, and they're doing it for diversity's sake. They're doing it to subvert expectations. They are not reading the room right now. I just simply don't think that's what most fans are interested in. And at a time when Marvel Studios is in really bad shape, they've shed a lot of their audience. They no longer hold that space in the zeitgeist of pop culture where they are the biggest thing and everybody is aware of and engaged with what Marvel is doing. They're not there anymore. They're in some ways fighting for their lives. And I think by streamlining this Fantastic Four and just some of the behavior that you can kind of read into with regards to what they want to do with this movie, I think it might be the worst timing ever to do some of these things. I would love to be wrong. I would love to see the Fantastic Four be absolutely incredible, be a thing that everybody loves, that you just can't deny is such a cool, such an incredible film. And I'd love for it to be a franchise that Marvel fans care a lot about moving forward from here. But I'm a little bit worried that the old mentality of Marvel Studios, that the ideas they had about their relationship with their content and the audience from years ago, I'm worried that that's still the way they're viewing all of this, and that's just not congruent with where most audiences are currently at. Of course, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below, and as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.